Yeah, I just got home from work, took a shower. So
Well, I've had physical therapy today and another doctor's appointment, so I feel beat up right now.
okay, I'm gonna keep my camera off while I eat.
Okay.
Okay, I found you. I found you. I was in my D2L and I got lost. I was able to come back to the screen. Good evening. Good evening. Hope that
Good
you're doing
evening.
well.
Good evening, Dr. Benjamin.
Good evening. Good evening. This is Daniel, right? Or
Yes,
David
yes,
Daniel.
Daniel. Yes.
And we are three at the moment. And so let's give it a couple of minutes and then we'll begin. Well, time is of the essence, and where two or three are gathered together, we just give 5 minutes or so to see who would come, so that we don't have to repeat ourselves. So we will make a start, and then we may just have to repeat some of the things that we will be saying now. Father in heaven, we give you thanks for another day. You've kept us safe. You have given us health, and you have availed us to the provisions, the basic provisions of life, of food and shelter. We are humbled to think that we can study divinity and how divinity is disclosed to humanity and in human relationships. For you are beyond human reasoning, but you have called us to partake of the divine nature and to do your work, and you have provided us the Holy Spirit to aid us in that work. And so in a mysterious way, we are able to work with divinity, and we ought to be able to give good attention to what that work will consist of in our human context. So thank you for the privilege of education. Thank you for the privilege of corporate study together. And as we project ideas as to how we may fulfill your mission through our own personalities, through our own characters, through our own sense of calling, and through our own contexts. Hear our prayers this afternoon as we continue in the semester, as we cross over the midterm period, and we seek your guidance all the way through. Take us through successfully, we pray in Christ's name. Amen. I did hear the sound of someone. Okay. So this evening I want to share with you one of the instruments that we'll be using for the final project, or the final proposal, as a way of providing a grade and part of the feedback. Unfortunately, I've had some challenges in getting to your assignments. I set aside some time to do that, and there are a number of places where I have found assignments, and they seem to be in very many locations. So one of the first things I would like to do is to share my D2L screen and scroll down to the place where all of the project proposals should be, and invite everyone to upload their project proposal into that Dropbox. So we would normally download all of the materials in that Dropbox, and then we know we have everything, and we also have a timeline for everything in terms of submissions and all of those important areas. So I'd like to share my D2L. Let's see if I believe that's it. The D2L screen, and I have moved from I'm into the Dropbox. And as we go down the Dropbox, we are looking for the assignment. We are looking for the assignment. The assignment is not called Dropbox assignment or any one of these for week 9, week 10, week 11. It is, as we go down, here, of course, this is very familiar to you, reading assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, up to whatever our lot is. And then we have this depth and reflection for the end of the semester based on Turabian, and the outline, of course, is in the content area. And perhaps the whole thing, because it's the end of the semester, the whole thing could simply be dropped into, it could be just one document, and it could just, well, it is one document. You don't have to do pages and pages. You have a topic and you have a comment, and on the date suggested, then we would just upload that into the very last Dropbox there. And I believe that that's November 11th. So far, on November 11th, you would put that there. But here comes project resource proposal. And so we have 4. We have a revised one there. And if the person who did the revised one, I'm not going to click it to show who it is that's there. You can still put it in first full proposed submission. You can still put it there. The revised one is after you have had some feedback, you have made some improvements, and then it's revised. Obviously, along the way, we made revisions to our proposal. Sometimes some individuals finish early, and in the next class, there are some conversations and discussions, and they say, oh, I didn't know that, or I've learned something. Let me try to see if I can improve what I have. That's okay. The deadline is still in the future, but they've already submitted it early. And so under their name, you will see more than one submission. And so I would usually do the latest one. So there's no need to put one in the revised proposal submission as yet. All right? Only after we work on those proposals and give you the weekend to make those, hopefully some just basic changes, and you could upload that on Monday. I would hope, I'm hoping, if I don't get it to you tonight, then it would be Tuesday. So any day that it is lengthened is going to be another day. So I hope to get to everybody's tonight, and then you would have Monday to Monday midnight, 11:59, as we usually would say, to put that into this Dropbox. Revise proposal submission. So whoever submitted the assignment here, you can take it out, you can delete it. If you're having trouble doing that, not to worry. I will, if there are 2 or 3, let's say you did one, you've already got one in here, and you put one in there on Sunday, and then you as you read along in your textbook, there are some things that you wanted to improve, and you improve it again, and there are 3 for your name. The third one, the last one, I will use, I will look at the last one. Okay, I will download all of them, but the one that I would address is the last one. So okay, so obviously there are, if this is a revised proposal, it would mean that only 4 students have actually submitted one in so far. Okay, and perhaps someone was trying to meet the deadline for the second. Maybe that's what's happening here. Someone wanted to meet the deadline without the feedback, and so they simply did the best they could without the feedback and placed it there just so that they wouldn't be marked late or anything like that. But that was not necessary. And so by this evening, by tonight, by the end of the night, everyone should receive, once your submission is in Word, it's a Word file, then I would make some comments on the side. And there's another document that I'm going to, as part of the feedback, I will introduce to you after we have, we've gone through almost every section step by step and ask you to do your part similar or better than the sample that we did. So you had the sample to look at and to see how they did it, and at the same time you had the protocol, the Oakwood IRB protocol, and you were fixing and doing what that required, not what the student was doing completely, but where the student was covering the material, then that's something that was reasonably good to look at. And we went through all of those areas and we picked out and talked about what the limitations of that assignment was. So we are still missing a couple or so, and so we would want to, for me to make that, give you that feedback tonight, you would need to submit what you have, and then improve it over the weekend and submit it by Monday. And then you would submit it by Monday. Then our next class is, we would well, we wouldn't so much have a class, but Wednesday is the time for our next class. So you should get that. Oh, what am I saying? Right. Well, the assignments would be fully up tonight. Hopefully, we've got 4, and we would provide that feedback tonight, and then you would have until Monday to make that improvement. Right. You would submit it on Monday. Then there's a bit of paperwork that I would need to do for IRB for each proposal. Some things I have to fill in, and then write some emails to the IRB for each individual, attach all the documents, and we would wait for their response in the next week or so. Well, it would be the following week when we submit it, and the week when it is submitted, the following week at least, we would hear from them. Usually the main issue is risk, confidentiality, and documents. Risk, confidentiality, sample documents such as questionnaires, and the clear method. But risk, if you're dealing with a risk category or an at-risk group, such as children or the elderly, then they are very cautious as to what you're going to do with these individuals, how you're going to ask them questions, how you're going to protect them from harm. What if someone cries because of a question that you're asking, or because they've remembered a sad story as they're answering your question? How are you going to ensure that people who share with you information, how are you going to ensure that they will not be identified? How are you going to protect their identity? And how secure would be the information that you have, that you're going to be analyzing? Where will it be kept? They need to be able to see that statement. It will be kept in a drawer, on the lock and key. It's going to be kept, they need to see that. It's going to be kept on a thumb drive, and will be kept in a locked and secure place, where, and I am the only one who will have access to that information. So risk, consent. Did you get consent? Okay. How do you promote the focus group? How did you get the sample? Did you put a notice on the notice board and request a meeting? Was an announcement made? Did it go through the pastor, or And part of the reason for this is to help the researcher be as objective as possible. If the further away the researcher is from the data, the gathering of the data, the better. And once the data is collected, all of our assessments can be said to be subjective. but at least someone can go back and look at the data and look at how it was assessed to see what my subjectivity is and your subjectivity, and then they can make a critique or an affirmation, and they can see whether we are making too many assumptions from the data. All right. So those are the things that they'll be looking for. And so let's, before I leave the screen, again, there are lots of things on these pages, and you will be pleased to know if you, pleased to know that tomorrow we're having a meeting, and your classes for 2021 may look very different from all of these boxes that we have here. It'll look a little different, and perhaps maybe not for the graduate student, but certainly for the undergraduate students. Certainly for the undergraduate students. You don't need to put the table of contents here. Here, you can. The reason why there's a distinction between this, okay, project resource proposal with table of contents, first submission and so forth, and the final one, this one here, IRB project proposal, is that even after we have submitted it, the IRB may make some suggestions. So I've given feedback, and then you make the improvement for Monday, we submit it, they may have feedback, and then you make the feedback, and then you submit it in this, and perhaps I should put, maybe I can just edit this here and say final. So right at the very bottom is final. I'm not sure. I'm not going to open this now. I don't want to reveal who placed something there. But right here, yeah, you can do that right here. So that's after IRB, and perhaps if IRB says that's cool, then there's no need to put it here. Or perhaps just to separate them, I may ask that all those who have had a successful review just upload, reload in the final section, so at least we know that that's the one that is going to be finally graded. All right. So do your best and make sure that those project proposals are up. As I said, there were, did we see 4? I believe it was 4. Now it's 5.
Well, I heard that you say Word, so I resubmitted mine in Word document, so you can put the notes next to it.
Oh, okay. So they'll.
Yeah, I had done PDF, but I just
right. Yeah, it'll enable the column for comments on the side. Okay.
Dr. Benjamin, I have my first one in those previous weeks. Like I think in for assignment, probably week 1 or 3.
Yeah, there are a number of things
Would you
here
say that I should go ahead and resubmit it
into
to
the correct folder, which is first.
the first full proposal? Okay. Because I resubmitted it, I probably might be the one to probably revise. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right. Put
But
it
I
in.
resubmitted it
Right.
after
First.
I worked on it a little bit.
Right. Just put it right here.
Okay.
And then you should hear from me tonight. One of the things we can do is if you wanted to take us through, we can share screen. You can share screen, and then you take us through, and then we can give you some feedback generally as we go through, so that you have a number of eyes or a number of voices sharing things with you. So why don't we do some of that with the people who are here, and then also, but before we do that, let me just share with you an instrument that I'll be using, that I'll be giving to you with the feedback. So I stop sharing this one, and let me let's see if it's this one here. All right. Okay. Can you see this PDF rubric here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now this is out of about 100 points. I think it's about probably just below 100. Each one of these, each block is worth 9 points. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 nines are 99, right? So 11 times 9, 99. So it's close to 100. So let's just walk through this, and this would be a kind of gauge. If we had roughly 100 points that we are using. So the first thing is an overview or the abstract. And in the abstract, we're looking for the justification of the project. And don't worry about capstone here. We use basically the same rubric with different calculations, different numbers here for the project for 572. So the capstone issues are there too. So there's an abstract, there is a justification, whether it is a philosophical argument or a scientific argument, or a policy argument, or it's based on a cited source or a cited news item or something that is happening in the community that is quite clear that this is some sort of disruption, or this is some sort of need that can be verified. You remember the author of the sample cited the source. And he said that if that is the case, yeah, so he is justifying that there is a concern. The work was already done by someone else, but I'm noting this scholar who is making this statement about churches. And if that is that case, I'm going to look at how that impacts my context. He was able to, the original researcher was able to perhaps do research right across the country, in different denominations. He sent out surveys to all, and so he can speak about the country or a particular part of the country. And he is saying, the writer of the sample proposal is saying, if that is the case, let's see how it will work locally where I am. So he draws out some of the principles and some of the terminologies and so on, and he goes into the literature and start articulating what that might mean for his local church leaders, if I can recall, if I recall correctly. So a superior abstract would provide a clear description of the pastoral issue, yeah, like the other person did, or challenge being addressed, and the justification or the benefits of the project. It's sort of building on what we did already and what you already have in, as extra notes, right? The annotated version of the IRB protocol. But that would give you a superior, that would give you your 9. Okay? And if the hypothesis is there as well, that's okay. You would get the 9 for it, even though it might be part of the abstract. So don't worry about it being in a different square, a different a rectangle. The author of the sample, you may recall, had the hypothesis in that summary, that abstract, and that's fine. That's brilliant. Right up front, we know what the concern is. We know where he gets the an authoritative source from. It's not guesswork, but his feeling about his context is sort of guesswork initially, but is based on something that is already published. But he's going to find his own data and publish, and then extrapolate from that. Okay? So you don't have to worry about the capstone evidence. Okay? It's the same thing as justification, basically. So then the hypothesis. So make sure that your project has a hypothesis right up front. Don't give a lot of words, 2 or 3 pages, and then the hypothesis. No, it's too late. The reader is already confused. What is the issue here? What is he seeking to do? What is she seeking to do? Put it right up front. IRB folks are instructors. They've got to run to class. They don't have a lot of time to search for your information. And that's why the headings are important. The headings that are outlined in the protocol, you need to make sure that they are in your document, because they're looking for risk. They're looking for confidentiality. See, they look for the tough things first, and they leave the other stuff for the teacher to sort out. And they say, aha, we need to have a full committee on this one. Or, they need to actually change that quickly and send it back to us, or else we need to have a committee because this is not passing right now. So this should be quite straightforward. Hypothesis. Articulate a clear hypothesis and methodology to address the pastoral issue. You may not extrapolate a whole lot, but you can. because there's a method section that's coming up, but you can give a hint that this is going to be a qualitative approach using focus groups. See, that's just one sentence. You're not saying exactly how many people are in the group, and that's for the later on. You can say, you can outline your hypothesis, which could be part of the abstract, okay? And then you can say, this will be studied using a qualitative method with focus groups. And of course, you can also elaborate some more in regards to the hypothesis itself. Why is it worded that way, and so on. Then your biblical and theological foundations and literature review. Your biblical and theological. What Bible passage, what Bible character, what Bible story can undergird what it is you're trying to do? What is it that can you see that Jesus is doing, or the apostles are doing or saying, that you could use to just retell the story and highlight the key events? If you are about caring for others, find a parable, find a story, find a miracle story of Jesus, and highlight the fact, and those of you in hermeneutics, you know, there is a biblical genre called gospel. And the Gospels are divided up in a number of ways. They're structured in a number of ways. Matthew, all of the parables are in one place, and all of the miracles are in one place. And you can say that, you know, this is a significant observation in relation to the ministry of Jesus. He went about doing good. And so modern pastors, as we do practical theology or pastoral care in his name, and as we try to find new ways to do that, it is essential to relate what we are doing to the life and teachings of Jesus. Ellen White says, you know, you may have an Ellen White quotation, you strengthen that. And so you outlay your biblical foundations, and then you go to the literature. We already talked about what going to the literature means. You're going to the contemporary research. We went to the library. Remember, we went in and I showed you where you can find full-length articles that were published last year, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, and you have to peruse those. You can download most of these, I think, and look for ideas, and of course you need to cite these people. Then we have here research method and data collection. Oh, by the way, just going back, we're only looking at the superior, but a satisfactory, provide a clear description of the pastoral issue or challenge being addressed, provide a clear description of the pastoral issue and challenge being addressed, but, see the but here? But the justification or benefits of the project is weak. So that's of a lesser quality than this. It's maybe satisfactory? My head is spinning. It may be presented satisfactorily, but it would not receive this. And if it's poorly done, it can, of course, these are the highest points between this and this, so you can get 6, or you might even get 5. Yeah. And this one here, description is vague, justification or benefits. Okay. Description is vague. Welcome, welcome. Justification or benefits of the project is weak or missing. All right. So this goes downscale. And as you write yours, you can have a sense of where you are in terms of what this is saying. Okay? And in some cases, feedback will just be circling these things. Okay? Circling them so that you can work on whichever one is weak. And if I gave 7 for this, then you know you're down here. If I gave you 8 for this, then you know that it still needs some improvement, but it's still superior. You know that you need to run your spell checkers and so on. If there is real issues, sentence construction and so forth, it's important to point that out, because if the reader can't read it, then it's a major problem. A lot of work may have gone into it, and so it's important to point out what needs to be corrected. And hopefully you would have run your spelling checkers, so don't submit your work without running it through a spelling checker and have someone read it for you. We know that we're running against deadlines, but it's important to do that, or else you'll have some issues. So the literature review, what are the salient, the key, the major publications in relation to your topic? Of course, one of the ways you go into the library, you search for a document that relates to your topic, and look at the footnotes, look at the bibliographies. Okay. Amazon would not help you very much, because you're seeing a whole array of books, and books often don't deal with the kind of material that we are talking about. So it's best to get to the journals. And that's what we mean when we say literature review. Okay. Welcome, mover. And so after the literature review here, research method, data collection, effectively consulted and responsibly used and cited various types of data and resources relating to the project. Effectively consulted and responsibly used. So, you may consult with a pastor, you may be consulting with a group. Yeah, you may have developed groups. It might be that you're consulting with the chief of police or some resource within a police station. Or you may be talking to a social worker. You may be talking to pastors. Okay. You may have developed a questionnaire. Right? So we're looking to see, how was the data collected? Is it corrupted in any way? And this is where it's actually good to have a couple of people in the church who you assign as assistants you would sign as congregational assistants, not research assistants necessarily because the IRB may want to know more about them. How closely how are they related to you? Are they going to skew the information so that you look good and all of that? So congregational assistants who would also have to do would also have to sign a consent form. Okay. And now keep in mind, you're not actually collecting any data, but you're telling us that you're going to do that, and this is how you're going to do it. Yeah? You're not actually going to, in 572, that's when you do it, or after this is successful at the end of the year, this year, end of November, after the semester ends, you can start collecting data. Because the approval of the IRB says you are clear and ready to go. So rather than collecting your data in 572, you can start setting up, I mean, even now you can start inquiring, but you can't collect data until IRB says you can. So research method data collection, we're not dealing with that. And then the analysis skills, as you read a textbook, you will find a description as to what they did with the data they collected. And there are a couple of other books. One that I did use, this may be going back a little bit, there's probably a third or fourth edition. I think this must have been 2008, 2009 when I wrote this course. Action Research Essentials. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm holding it up and I can hold it up again. But it's called Action Research Essentials, which you can simply Google on, you can Google, and you can, of course, do that, search that on Amazon. I purchased it from Amazon, Bossy Base. So now that you have the data, what are you going to say about it? How do you extrapolate the data? Okay. And of course, as textbooks go on to point that out, one of the things that you can do is look for repetitive themes. If it's a questionnaire and you ask people, how do you, and you have a group of people who were in hospitals, in a hospital, and you're asking them about the care they received. So your focus groups are made up of people who have experienced hospitalization and pastoral care, and you're asking them whether they did or not, and if all of them say the same thing, and you have 10 people or 5 people in a group, 5 and 5, and all of them say the same thing, then that becomes a major issue in relation to the pastoral care they received that has to be talked about in your findings as you summarize and analyze the data. So we're trying to analyze it now. And this is sometimes called, and there are technical ways of doing this, coding the data. There are various theories about that, but the basic idea is to, as we say in hermeneutics, observation. Look for things, look for certain key things, look for repetitive, just like we would say, look for repetitive words, look at the verbs, look at the names, and look them up in the concordances and so on. Here we are looking for repeated concepts, and they could be the main things that you are reporting on, and they could be part of the main topics to make up the resource that you're going to have in the end. It's all coming out of what they say, not what you want to do, but this is what they say. And if that is what they say, if that is true, then this is what our services should look like. This is what our preaching should look like. This is what our strategy should look like. Integration ability. There are some people who would say that the social sciences are humanistic, they're not spiritual, they are not reliable, they are just men and women's ideas, and therefore why should we relate to them? Perhaps most of those things are true, but the Bible itself is both divine and human. It's human words. And yes, we have to acknowledge that there are human disciplines that human beings have constructed to help us make our way in life. If I want to build a house, sure, I can get some good quotations from the Bible about we must have a firm foundation, we must watch how we build, we must have integrity, we must be honest. But the Bible would not tell me what material City Hall requires us to use for foundation. The Bible would not tell me how many feet I need to go down in the ground to make sure that it's a strong enough foundation so that in addition to a roof, I can put a second floor. The Bible does not tell me how to make the wall straight. So if I look at it, I don't see a wiggly wall. These are bodies of knowledge that engineers have developed to provide, as near as possible, a human type of perfection in the quality of work. And you and I know whatever work it is, if we don't do it well, then our supervisors can reprimand us. So we have to, so there is a kind of quality to our human work. And so what are some of those disciplines? What are some of those disciplines that are the handmaiden of theology? What are those disciplines that could complement theology. Anybody want to quickly, don't fall asleep on me here. Anybody want to, if you've been reading the book, what are some of those disciplines that can work with theology to help us understand the human problem or the societal problem or human attitudes? Anyone?
Anthropology.
Anthropology, yes. And obviously, we would need a little bit more time for our work to be in a community and study a community, to get to know all of the mores and the backgrounds and so on and so forth. Anybody else?
What about psychology?
One
What
more
about
time.
psychology?
Psychology, sociology, all of these things, healthcare, business, politics. See? How are you talking about the Bible and politics, and how are you drawing from those disciplines and relating them to the other concepts that you've talked about in the in your paper? Are you able to include them in your dialogue? Okay. So once you can identify a theme, if you're dealing with people who are depressed and people who need to be motivated, encouraged, or to be treated carefully by people with expertise, or there is a specific type of strategy that you would use or intervention that you would use to help someone, then you go to that discipline. And oftentimes as pastors, we're not trained, to care. And you really have to care professionally. Let me put it that way. Let me correct that. To care professionally to meet the needs of people in the community. You have to do an extra course. Now, I don't know if Daniel did certifications in, with Red Cross or FEMA, or whether it was part of a master's degree, a specific type of master's degree. But having those specializations, even in law enforcement, or even a pre-law course, gives you a sense of how a society works, what the law says, how to relate to people who are breaking the law. All those are extra things. So you have to go to their literature and then understand that it may be a humanistic perspective. They may not be Christians, but you have to draw out that while this information seeks to do this, however, these concepts can shed light on how to go about visiting a former prisoner at their home or whatever. They're documents, they are professional, academic, and scholarly works that are provided for various disciplines. So let's see you include not just the Bible, but also some awareness of another discipline. Demonstrate how knowledge gained from the degree can be, and technically, this is one of the first courses in the program. And if that is the case for you, if you're following the procedure, then you might only have 2 other courses to think about. But as far as possible, you may have another degree, and of course you got an undergraduate degree, but you may have another master's or even a doctorate degree. you are bringing in knowledge into this discipline. Or you may have a professional life that in which you spent years working and serving and ministering, and so you have developed a certain a competency and a certain skill and knowledge that you can bring into the conversation. Can be critically integrated with a pastoral issue, whatever the issue is, and allow you to ponder that, or topic, to create a usable capstone project resource suitable for workshops or training purposes. So you demonstrate how knowledge gained from the degree and other disciplines. Okay? Bring it in. And it may be part of your review as well. It may be already up here. You have identified it, and so you bring it back into this conversation here. And then we have these documents, basically. The consent form. Is a consent form attached in your document? Have you discussed confidentiality? Have you discussed risk? And you don't necessarily have to say what type of review you don't have to say this, but risk. Are you doing a survey? Are you doing a questionnaire? And did the student include their ethics training material? You can attach all of that at the end of the document. I think last year I submitted some work to the IRB, and in my cover letter I said these students have completed ethics training, and that was okay, but they want to see it. They want to see it.
Question, Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Should you stipulate the type of question that you're gonna be asking your participants? Straightforward.
Yes, they want to see. Yeah,
Okay.
they comment on that because that might put someone at risk.
All right.
Or they might divulge something that, for example, let's say you had a question in there, please put your name and address. That they don't like people being identified.
Okay.
So you can number people, or give them some sort of code. Now, in the focus group, you can know people, and you know their name. The point is, you might be recording them, right? And so that's where the confidentiality piece is, and that's where the security of the data would be. But so instead of saying, Peter, why don't you share with us some, you can say, participant 1, share with us. So that even if you lost the thumb drive with a recording on it, and someone found it, they wouldn't know, unless they know Peter's voice, they wouldn't know who participant 1 is. Yeah? And then this part has to do with the resource itself, and something has to be said about the resource, though of course it's not in details. In other words, the results the result of the study will be used for training materials to improve church growth in the local district of the the Turabian SDA church. So they can see how this is going to be applied. It's going to be used for improving ministry. And it's up to you to show how usable it is. You can give an outline of what it might look like. You don't have to write the resource. And then you have again, this is an important part, the usability of it. How is it? Can it be used, or is it just a document that is theoretical? In the end, that's the purpose of it. It has to be used. And then, of course, sources, citations, and so on. So if we're using Turabian, then you know how Turabian should go. Timeline and deadlines, that's fine. This would become more of an issue at the end of the course. And then writing, the writing. Now, in the library, where we search for the various literature, there was a section that dealt with libguides. You recall that? Libguides? And one of the libguides was the Andrews University standards for written documents. The Andrews University had a handbook for written documents. And there you would see how Turabian is formatted, or a piece of writing that is formatted according to Turabian, what it looks like. How to cite a book that has multiple authors. How to cite a book that is part of a series, like an encyclopedia. How to cite a book that is edited by someone, like a journal, and you got little articles, many authors within a journal. All of that is laid out there for you. And of course, you know that your bibliography is going to be alphabetical. Last name, comma, first name, period. Got a title. You got a city. You got a publisher, and you have the date. And there will be a few little things in there like edition or editor or volume 1. And the first citation in the footnote is usually a full one. And all the others, if it's relating to the same author and the same book, is just the last name, comma, page number, and date. All that is nicely written out also by ViMaster. And perhaps I would go to ViMaster first, because it's part of our textbook. Now this is I've uploaded this in the content area, so you can see that and use that as a guide as you work on your proposal for Wednesday, and even tonight there are still there's still those who, and perhaps there may be some of you who haven't submitted already. You may say, "Oh, this sounds good. I think I could improve. I can improve that. I wonder if I can do that for tonight. If I give you, if you wanted to do that, I can give you to Tuesday, not Tuesday, tomorrow is Thursday, but we still need, it would have to be done by midday so that I could, get it back to you, but we won't be able to change Monday. If you wanted to use some of what we are saying, and or if there's an idea that came to mind as I'm talking, and you say, okay, I think I can improve that, I would say by tomorrow midday, if you had the time and if you wanted to, or if you just want to operate with the feedback that I'm going to give you tonight, that's fine, because it's a first draft. Whatever you have gleaned tonight, you can make that in the one that will be submitted on Monday. So you're not going to get a grade, a final grade for the draft. So you don't need really an extension to make the editorials that have just come to mind. You can do all of that for Monday. So at least you'll get my comments tonight. Any questions about this particular document? Here, now you have about 3 different documents. You have this. You have the protocol, the exact protocol from IRB. You have the past paper. Okay? And you have yourself. There may be things that you're not limited to these bits and pieces here. There may be some other things that you, in relation to your topic, that some other subheadings. But at least you know from the proposal, from the protocol itself, you know exactly what IRB is doing. So you can't say, well, I'm not going to put in a hypothesis, not going to do a literature review, I'm not going to do a consent form. Right? You know what they want from the protocol. And no doubt you will do a great job, an excellent job, because I think we went through this several times. It's just a matter of doing it in your own words, and to fight that feeling of, it's like the reading a report. It's only 3 pages, but you are also learning something as you're reading, and you want to read every page, every word. But the deadline is coming. So you still have to be able to fulfill that 1-page summary for that 100-page reading that you've got to do in order to write the 1-page summary. And so as you're writing, there's so many things you want to say, but you just have to do it succinctly. All right. Who would like to share their screen for their proposal? And we can give you some feedback as you scroll through, talk us through what you have. It is to your advantage.
Can I see you after class and show you mine?
You can, yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, it would be helpful, but based on what you just told me, I know
I didn't hear some
based on what we've just gone through, I know there's some areas that I'm going to need to revise.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd like to wait and see what your comments are before I actually go over mine. That makes sense. I feel more comfortable that way, knowing what I'm thinking and seeing what you're thinking.
Okay.
Then I'll know what I need to do.
Okay.
So I'm not comfortable sharing right now.
Okay. No problem. So coming back to the, let me see here. Coming back to, let's go back to share. I believe. Okay. We go back to the Dropbox in D2L. And for those of you who joined us a little late, you can see that some individuals have placed assignments in these boxes, these folders, but they're not the right folders. So we ask that you please go to the folder at the bottom, first full proposal submission. At the moment there are 4 or 5 in there, and you need to submit it in Microsoft Word so that I can put the comments on the side of the page. All right. So I would. Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, yeah. So I don't want to open this because then it'll show all the names of individuals. And so what will happen is I will download them, and with the same mindset, I would then tackle that and perhaps give a. I might even use one of the rubrics, and just give you a sense of what I think in relation to the grading scale that we talked about. All right, so don't let me have to sort of look everywhere for your document. It is time consuming, and now I'll be happy to get to it. And it is not this one either. This is the very final, after the IRB has given the okay. Okay? It is the one that is right here. First full proposal submission.
Dr. Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that you.
Hello, John. How are you, my brother?
I'm blessed, man. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
man.
I'm so glad that you shared that with me. I had absolutely no idea that those were listed there. I have under my Dropbox, I have 4 pages. I have to go to the 4th page
Yes.
to
And
see the information. So I didn't even realize that those other
right.
options were there to submit the my proposal. So
Right. Here at the very bottom, you see this arrow here. If you have yours to 10, you'll only see 10 items.
okay.
I have mine down to 100, so I can see the full screen. So sometimes that could be a problem.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Well,
Try to change that. Thank you for telling me that, Bill. I appreciate
right.
it.
Or else you have to press the arrow, page 2, page 3, page 4.
Yeah,
As
yep, I got it on 20. My 20. Okay, so all right, thank you.
No problem, no problem. We can put it all down to the COVID, man.
All right. Yeah, I see it now. I'm good now. Okay, so I'll get that submitted to the right one. I appreciate it.
Okay. So if you get it up there tonight,
Yep, I'm gonna do it right now.
then I can look at that.
How do you share your screen in here?
Hmm?
How do you share a screen in Zoom?
Okay, at the bottom of the screen,
Mhm.
let's say, let me, you will see a green bar that says you are, you may see a green bar and then a red one. It'll say share screen. You probably see green, share screen. I can stop sharing screen now, and you see a green tab with an arrow up, pointing up.
Right.
If you do that, it takes you to your desktop, and we're not able to see anything on your desktop until you actually open the file. So you get to your desktop and you can search wherever the form is, or you can get into your D2L, but we don't want to see your D2L if that's not what you are trying to
If I wanted to get into my documents, and if I decide to go ahead and let you look at mine,
I'd be willing to do that. Happy to do that.
I'll try.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't laugh at me, okay?
We know that it's a draft. We're trying to get to the perfect one or the best one. So as much comment and insight that you can have, it can only do you good.
That's what I can do.
Mm-hmm. So just double click on the file, and it'll be open to us.
So when share comes up, I just click on share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We see some umbrellas. So perhaps you need to come out of that again, because what you're showing us now are all your files.
Right.
So before you do share, find the file first, and then open it, and then press share. But we got it. We just saw it. Yes. Just enlarge the screen. At the bottom of your page to the right of the Word file, there is a sliding bar on the far right of the page at the bottom. Mm-hmm. Just slide it towards 100.
Okay, I see it.
Keep going. You got to press it and then slide. Click. Ooh, nah.
Too far.
Yeah, it's like we got magnified glasses there. All right. Oops. Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Just a little bit further down. because we can't see something. Good.
All right. So, what do I do now? Just go back to the
Okay,
top, or
that's it. Got you.
all right. Do I need to go all the way up to the top? Or just
Okay, we got you. My name shouldn't be up the top. It should be at the bottom, and you should be. Oh, scroll up again. Let me see. Is that the very top? Oh no, you're good. Thesis proposal. You need to give the proposal a title. You can put thesis proposal : and then give it a title.
okay.
Addressing young people, in the, Tennessee SDA Church, whatever it is. See, so you put the title up there.
My table of contents.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is
Did we see risk? Did we see risk?
Yes.
Okay, confidentiality. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Instrument. No, the instrument.
No, I didn't see any instrument. I didn't put any instruments.
Right. So if you're going to have a questionnaire, if you're going to ask the group questions, you need to submit that as well. Either at the very end, but as you describe your method, it'll be good to upload that in the document so that they can see what it is you're going to be using to talk to the group to collect the data.
I knew I had revised it on that part. This is the abstract. Do you need to read it?
Yes. You just take us through that.
It said spiritual and religious struggles emerge in times when where life meaning is unclear, has changed, or is challenged. Increasing longevity in modern society puts spiritual needs of older adults at the forefront of societal priorities.
Just before you go ahead, is that 2 periods there between the increasing and challenge?
It is.
Right. And so that first citation there.
You want to see it at the bottom?
Yeah. Sometimes when you pass the cursor over it, over the one, go just a little further over the one, and see if it doesn't bring up the biography. Yeah. Click on it. Okay.
Oh, I didn't.
So that's a website.
What is a book? But it is giving you a website.
And that's what you have at the bottom in the footnote. Scroll down to the bottom of the page.
On the page I have. Yeah. I got it like that.
Right. So it's yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, she's got IBID. Yes. Good job.
I remember the part.
Okay.
All right. And then when I go back up, it says, understanding individual spiritual perspectives become increasingly important given the issues of loss, physical illness, and mortality that are confronted in old age. It is for this reason this paper will seek to understand the changing roles that aging places on pastoral care of older church members.
Okay, so instead of this paper, put proposal. It's for this reason that this proposal. Right.
We'll see. Understand. It said the older members, and I started with the older members of my congregation, my local church district of Beaumont, South Columbia, and Hattiesburg, Mississippi, will be utilized in the study. The membership in these churches are aging, and the knowledge of how to better serve our aging population will will provide valuable information, especially as technology continues to increase and crises arise such as coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
That's all of it.
That's all. That's the abstract.
That's the abstract.
Right. So now, okay, so we have a sense of what you're going to do. We have a sense of what it's about. We now want, we are now waiting for that big question, and that is has to do with the hypothesis. What is the hypothesis?
Guess we didn't do one, I guess. Because I don't know, I was thinking that it was more like when I gave the reason for the paper.
But you can still say that, just like you said, it is for this reason. It is for this reason that this paper will seek to.
You said this proposal.
Yes, and it's quite possible that you can craft out the hypothesis right here with these words, if that's what it is you're actually going to be doing. Or you can say, as a result, my hypothesis for this study, you can say project or study, you know. Or is for this reason that the paper will seek to understand the changing role of that aging places on pastoral care of older church members. My hypothesis is that aging members. See? That's where you need. That's where you can develop that hypothesis, right? You can leave the sentence just as it is. Just change it to study or proposal, and just before the older members of my local church. Yeah, my hypothesis is, because you already say where you're going to be doing it, which is your local church, but now you're being very specific. Now, my hypothesis is that. What is your hypothesis?
Okay.
What is it that you think you're going to achieve in this? What is it that you believe?
I believe that the older members of the church aren't receiving attention from the pastor or the pastoral staff at the churches. Like if they're
and what is that going to do? What is that going to do for them? What is that?
The study will make pastors more aware of the need to offer gift to these people, as far as maybe having Bible studies with them or visiting them in their homes, making sure that they get proper religious care.
Right. What is it going to do for the members who will be visited or?
It would give them a sense of knowing that they're not left alone, that people care about them. That's one of the issues that older people face from the study that I've been doing, that they feel alone. They feel as if no one cares.
So this is about loneliness among the elderly. It's about belonging. It's about resilience. Somehow, when they feel cared for, they can face tomorrow.
Yeah.
They can resilience, belonging. It's about hope. Just scroll the page down again a little bit, up a little further up. Let me see the beginning of the. Keep going up. Right. Okay. That's it. That's it. You got loneliness there. Sorry, not loneliness. Longevity. So you are also saying increasing longevity in modern society puts spiritual needs of other adults. So you are saying that they can live longer if they can feel, if they can have this sense of belonging, and if we can create this sense of community for them.
Okay.
Your hypothesis then has to do with this study. The hypothesis, my hypothesis seeks to show, or my hypothesis is, that regular pastoral visits with the elderly that seek to, because there are some pastoral visits that just, hello, how are you doing, and that's it. But this is intentional now. You believe that regular pastoral visits that has a specific intention right? And you'll have to name that. That gives hope and love and so on. Impacts geriatrological longevity. Geriatrology.
I know it's gerontology. I know what you're saying.
Right. So you can use your big words now because you're a master's student, right?
Right. Okay.
So you're saying that this a certain kind of care and visitation that you believe, right? That you have this hunch. That may be based on how you interact with them. Pastor, I haven't seen my pastor for so long. I feel so dead spiritually, and I just feel sometimes I feel like giving up, and and so you have this feeling that if they that pastoral visitation that is intentional in relation to ABC. Don't make it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, because you don't have time. That's for your book after your degree. All right.
Okay.
A, B, C, D, E. That's sufficient.
Okay.
Because the more you put this, the more you have to measure.
Right.
To show that your hypothesis works. Now that alone sets out the kind of questions that you would have to present in your questionnaire or in your focus group. You have to write a question in relation to how do you feel when when you are visited by a pastor. When a pastor visits you, what makes you what aspect of the visit gives you courage, strengthen your faith, and you let them talk, and you record all of that, and let's say you did that with 15 people, then you can draw out the common themes, how they've responded to all of that. See? So you see how once you have a tight hypothesis, it sets up exactly how you're going to do your study and the information you need to go and collect. And you won't be wandering all over the place.
Okay. That makes sense. I like that. It helps me a lot in my thought pattern and questions, especially.
Now, we don't even need to look at the rest of it. Once you have that,
Okay. Okay.
See, now it's a matter of getting the literature, and of course, you're putting in the hypothesis, the context that you're dealing with. You're very specific. You got a specific church, is a specific area, and so on. So somewhere in the research that you have to show, see if your conference has something, some information, or maybe that area, maybe on the website of the local government, they may have something about nursing homes, or there may be some studies on there about the elderly in the area.
Well, I know when I went out, I found a lot of social service kind of issues that dealt with older people when I was looking for the literature.
Yep. But if you can get something for Mississippi,
Okay, specific. Okay.
that's it. Because it'll have impact on the members who are living there. It may be that you've discovered that most of these individuals have to live at home because there may not be enough nursing homes locally, or they have to go away from their families to another state.
And then it's a rural area as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a rural area.
Rural area, right?
Yeah.
There may be issues around resources, perhaps, and they want to know what's going on in their church. Maybe the kind of results coming out of the study, something as simple as bringing them a bulletin to let them see all the announcements of things that are going on in the church. They still feel part of that community.
Right.
Perhaps, with the technology today, they might be able to see the service on, OUBN or Hope Channel or 3ABN. But there's nothing like seeing my pastor or one of our pastors.
Right.
To know that they have actually remembered my name.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for all of this, yeah. So once that's set up, here I am trying to move your page down. Only you could move it. Yeah. So just take us through. Just go down slowly and just show us how it's laid out.
Okay. Statement of purpose and background.
Purpose, okay, all right. Got all that. Nicely laid out. Let's keep going.
Can I get with the literature review?
So you may want to put a heading for that.
Okay.
Even under as a subheading of the main.
Okay.
So let's say it's section 2 or 3 of the table of contents there. Then you will have 2A or something, 2B, 2C.
Dr. Banks, can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
Is the table of contents a requirement, or is that just an additional thing if we want to do it, or is that
a requirement? Requirement, yes.
Okay.
That's
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah, these people are busy. They open the work, then they can go to it very quickly.
But I think I have them all down at the bottom.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I can see you have the citation of your...
Where are the citations?
Another citation, but I can see... all right, this is where you will describe the members, the elderly members in that city, in those churches.
Okay.
Some of the things that they have been saying, so on. And therefore, this project seeks to address. And so your methodology, how are you going to go about this? You are going to select, how large will your focus groups be?
Well, I kind of said it in here that I wanted to use. I said two groups because I was looking at older members from Beaumont and Columbia because they were more rural,
Mm-hmm.
and then looking at the ones from Hattiesburg, which is more of metropolitan kind of setting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good.
You know,
Good.
and try to see what the difference would be.
Yeah.
In the,
Another. Yeah, so that's taking it a little deeper, regional, and maybe age range as well. You'll find
I said 50, 55 and older.
It'll be interesting to see, 50 to 60. It all depends on your own demographic. But what was in my head was the retirement group that's before, let's say 60, 63. We know that retirement is done 63, but you can after 59 and a half, and then you have those that are who have to do 70 so they can get the best social security you can get, and then that's another level of analysis that you can do, because their responses might be different, but yet they may not be bedridden, the 50s, but yet they are still the older members.
Right.
And they're going through periods of transition. They're trying to decide, should I finish work? Do I have enough money for my health care? I'm going through a lot, and I need my pastor. Okay.
I don't think this is my final one. I think this is.
Mm-hmm.
I have it. And then I say where it's going to be conducted at each local church.
Yes.
Okay. And I was going to obtain the pastors and the church board approval for usage. I was going to include the inform and consent form for completion. I would also get a statement from the church clerk showing the board's approval to conduct the information. And then I was going to try to do some kind of special letterhead to show that it was not part of the church. It was just part of a study that I'm doing with the information that I need, or the questions that I had.
And you can actually write that letter, and as a matter of fact, you should write that letter and have it as one of the documents in the proposal.
Okay.
Right. Their pastor, da da da.
And then I say that there won't be any compensation to the participants, and the honesty of those that participating will be one of the potential problems that I would encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And I got down to design and method, inductive reasoning approach that would utilizing an inductive reasoning approach in this research came about by observing the aging of the current members in these churches. In so doing, this researcher questioned what happens to pastoral care for the aged church members when they can no longer attend church, or when church is closed due to issues or a major change. The information collected from the study participants will enable pastors, elders, and local church members to better serve an aging population within their pews.
Got you.
And I said letters will be forwarded to all church members at the 3 churches who meet the criteria for participation, inviting them to meet at the church. The informed consent form will be reviewed with all voluntary participants. Participants will be asked a series of questions in a questionnaire that will be discussed and shared with them. Any questions will be answered. Those members of these churches unable to attend a meeting, a phone interview will be conducted with them. A form will take approximately 15 to 20 minutes to complete. All material will be held in a secure locked file.
Mm-hmm. And you may want to also say that that one of the members of the group will serve as a volunteer assistant or something like that, so that you don't have to be doing all of the work, like giving out the consent form or asking them to fill out everything. So your research assistant could help you, and that person could be part of the group, part of those who volunteered and who has filled out a consent form. So you have someone helping you. It could be a young person, but it's good if it was someone from within that age bracket, so that you don't have to, there are no. Yeah.
I have a question, Dr. Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, on the part for the literature review, I think you had mentioned that we didn't have to put the citation now because that would be done in 572. We just had to put the author and what the author would contribute to our proposal. Is that still correct, or do we now have to do the citation?
No, you do need to cite any author that you refer to. You must cite it. You must cite them. Yes. So you have to do that. If I said that before, then I misspoke.
Okay, thank you.
All of these that I have in here, I need to make sure I got a citation on them at the bottom.
Yes.
Might include them.
And that was throughout the document.
Then I got the potential benefits. The majority of American participants in religious services and I should say identify themselves. That services identify themselves and should be removed as members of a faith community. Therefore, understanding the role that religion plays in people's lives is essential in pastoral care. This study will provide valuable information to pastoral staffs in this district on how to better serve the older, less tech-savvy church members, homebound members, or those physically handicapped. This is especially important during the time of COVID-19 and social distancing.
All right. And at the beginning of that paragraph, you are stating a fact. A majority of Americans participate in religious services and identify themselves as members of the faith community. Is that a feeling? Is that a hunch? Can you cite that? That's the mindset that you have to have. You've got.
That's my citation right there.
Okay, so because you have a period there, a full stop, as you would say, then you need to cite it there. Yeah, you need to cite it.
I got my citation here. I guess I got my citation in the wrong spot. The period is after the 4. I should put the period then the 4.
You should have the citation after faith community.
Okay.
You can have a second one, of course.
But this is the full. This is the full citation. I mean, this is the full quote.
Oh, if it's a quotation, then you should say something like, according to H.W. Stone.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I should put him first and then go. All right. I got that.
And if those are exact words, then they need to be in speech marks.
Okay.
And then you can have the citation at the end of care. So the speech marks would include a majority of Americans, if that's what he said.
Right. But start out with his name and the
yes.
Okay.
Then you would have the period before the 4.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
I don't think this is the one I actually turned in, but hey,
doesn't matter.
Pretty much the same. I know.
When I had to do this at Oakwood for C.T. Richards, a paper I wrote on Daniel, imagine when you had typewriters and you had to use whitener and then roll the paper back into the typewriter. It was tough. It was tough to get that, and I did 25 or so pages for this Daniel paper, and he was pointing out all those sorts of things. So yeah.
Well, this is it's after 7, so if you want to just
I didn't even
do
look
the
at
rest.
Okay. All right. I believe others are learning or thinking about their own paper as we were going through yours. Is that the case?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Right.
Thank you.
And let's see a bibliography right at the end. Just go right at the end. Works cited. Confidentiality.
Where is it? Informed consent.
Good job.
I hope I did a big bibliography on there. I'm not sure. I might have done one on this.
But anyway, look at Vimaster.
I did do one.
Right. Look at Vimaster, and you got alphabetical listing and so on and so forth. All right. Good job. And so my job is simply to help you get your work to the IRB and get it through. That's basically what we're trying to do, and to point. And I can't do your work for you, but just to point out those things that they're going to cite and say, well, it has to be done again. So I'm like the midwife, bringing to birth the project with you there. So okay. So I don't know if that's the right metaphor, but I think there were a couple of people who wanted to see me afterwards. If you have that need, then we can sign off. And so upload. Remember, we only had 4 or 5 papers in. Make sure you upload those. And I should be up midnight or so, trying to finish off those ones with a similar kind of details and observation, and then you would make the changes and upload them on Monday. All right.
You said that you would delete the one that we cannot, that we submitted erroneously?
No, I wouldn't delete it, but if you want to take it out or delete it, you can.
I never seen an option before.
Okay.
But I can try.
But I wouldn't spend time on it unless you have inappropriate words in there or something like that. Because I'm not going to read it. I would read it. So what will happen when I go in there? It'll give me the dates, the date of submission. So because we are in a tight spot, we want to give you as much time as possible to work on it for Monday. I will go to the latest one. All right? And the last one that you submit in that box. And that's the one you will have comments on. But then I'll have to save it to my desktop and then upload it back into the Dropbox for you.
Okay. Thank you.
I have another question. In doing what I'm doing with the hypothesis, do I have to put like hypothesis 1, 2, 3, that kind of thing into this as well? No.
I don't understand 1, 2, 3.
Sometimes when you put a hypothesis into a proposal, sometimes you have to put like maybe 2 or 3 things that you expect to happen that you're looking for. Do I have to do that?
You can talk about it as you go through the document, because different aspect of the document would deal with either the care or either the issue or the need or the shortcomings of the pastor, or you wouldn't deal with the whole, but you can repeat the hypothesis in different places.
Okay.
Based on my hypothesis, the hypothesis mentioned above, or as the wording of my hypothesis says, I mean, this could be page 5.
Okay.
But you are keeping before the reader the journey.
Okay.
You don't want the reader to be going over there because they can, if they see grammatical things or if they see a word. But if you keep the reader on the same road, they're not turning off the highway to go to McDonald's. They're going to keep on focused because your hypothesis guides them, and you can relate. You can highlight different things in your hypothesis as need be as you go along. For example, the issue of risk is a general topic for the proposal, but there may be some element of risk for the elderly that might come up in that section that you may want to highlight. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Good. So we can sign off, and those who need me to go through something with them can stay behind, unless you want to go look at Kamala. And
Dr. Benjamin, are we gonna continue to do this every Wednesday?
No, we can, because you're going to submit this, and all that's left for you to be doing now is the reading, right? The reading, and to hear back from IRB, and at that point, then we may need to come back if there's a major issue. But we would just have some basic responses from IRB, and then you go ahead and fix that up. And at that time, you're continuing with the second book, and you keep reading and so on. So we have no quizzes, we have no final. There is a call for a midterm grade. Generally, we haven't been given midterm grades for the MAPS program. But if I did get an email from administration saying that they want grades up to this point, I would put everyone down as an A.
Thank you.
And then it's up to you to keep that A based on the your project. And we have one reading report. We should have one reading report in. But up to this point, we are all still together. We are. No one has dropped out and so forth. So up to the midpoint. Although the time of trouble is coming. You don't like my metaphors. But right now, everybody is holding on.
I would say we're in our time of trouble right now. I am anyway.
But you're doing good. You're doing good. Just hang in there. All right. Contact me if you have a need, a concern. Anything can happen. COVID has a way of just blanking us out. If you just felt tired and you just couldn't do it, just drop me a line and just. I don't want anyone working 2 o'clock in the morning. Say if midnight comes and you just couldn't do it, just send me an email and just go to bed. Go to bed. Get at least 6 hours and wake up fresh the next day. And
We appreciate you, Doctor.
it's the grace of God that leads us to repentance. And it's tough. It's tough for everybody. And Fauci's last report is just so worrisome, to say the least. Instead of just 200,000, now they're anticipating it will continue the way, which means that we who are alive and remain, we got some issues, right? And tomorrow we have a meeting tomorrow, whereby it's convocation, and we have to be in several locations, in Mosley, in Cooper, in the skating rink, and the pastors from the city will be doing Pastor Bird will be saying the prayers, and we as pastors would be in those building, and we will raise our hands over the congregation as we pray for our students, and both those who are on campus and those who are distant. God will bless you and keep you safe, and that you could have a focus in completing this program. And yes, your families. In the beginning, I lost family members. Nancy, you have lost members as well, and there are others. So we know that as the winter comes, it's going to be worse. But we have a God,
Amen,
whom we can trust, who will keep us. And we know that there is a story. The story does not simply end with COVID. The story does not even end with our mortality. For early Sunday morning, he arose, and I'm following him everywhere he goes. If he got up out of the grave, I have a string. I have a rope. He's pulling me through in that great getting up morning, and it'll all be well.
Indeed, yes.
Blessings. Look out to hear from me tonight as I work through. I may be the one working through late tonight, but you get some sleep if you find yourself just too much, and don't make yourself sick because of the paper. All right.
I'll pray for us because we're expecting Hurricane Delta to hit Miami around Friday and Saturday. So keep Louisiana and Mississippi in prayer, and parts of Alabama too, I think.
Yes. Daniel, could you pray for us, please? With all of the things that we've mentioned and this upcoming storm, just bless us as we conclude tonight.
Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you, Lord, for all the blessings that you give us throughout the day, throughout the week. We want to thank you for helping us with this MAPS program that all of us are taking. Thank you for Dr. Benjamin and all that he does for us. And as we continue forward, Lord, we ask a blessing for all of our classmates. We ask a blessing for everyone that's going to be in the path of this hurricane, especially Sister Friend and her family. Lord, keep them safe. Lord, give us the wisdom to learn the material that Dr. Benjamin is sharing with us, and help us that we can put everything that we learn in practice, that we can become better Christians, and we can become better leaders, and most of all, Lord, that we can get closer to you and contribute in the expanding the kingdom. So when we come, Lord, there will be many, many more people that are going to go with you and be with you forever, Lord. Thank you so much, and bless Dr. Benjamin as he is going to be working late tonight, working on the proposal. Lord, give him the strength, wisdom, and and help us, Lord, to be patient with him. And we ask all this, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
All right. So
Good night,
take care.
everyone.
All right.
Good night.
So just sign off on those. I think there were a couple